Good morning, everybody. I have finally dragged my dried out carcass back to Unicoi Gap, rested my knee a few days, headed to Dix Creek Gap by way of 2 shelters. So, still got this heavy pack, just gonna take my time, go to the first shelter tonight, next shelter the next night, and on into top of Georgia on day 3. And tell you later about all the stuff I had to do to get this thing rolling. Everybody have a blessed day. Wait for the sunshine, unless you're hardcore, and then get out and hike. Isn't that pretty where the moss grows over the rocks? Kind of enhances the overcast. Weather look. But I really don't know anything other than this being a 1,000-foot steep climb as far as rocky and stuff like that, but I guess I'm about to find out. Look at that. So beautiful out here. Everything in me didn't want to come. The closer we got, the more happy I was to be here. Now that I'm here, got my pack on, started up the hill. Once again, I love hiking. I'm not going to kid you. I don't like having continual rain day after day and week after week, but oh, look at those. Pretty cool. But anyway, fixed some things and I think I'm ready to deal with it a little better than I did the last 20 miles, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, well, the only not so great news is of course the rain, but here's the good news. The trail is not slippery. I did pass one little rocky thing I had to climb up where the rock was a little slippery on a sloping rock. And I can't really walk and talk here in this, but we'll see what view we do have. And then the other good news is, while my legs still are not strong, it is better today. So muscle has kicked in a little bit from what I've done so far, and then taken a few days to rest to give it time to sort of, do whatever muscles do. So, whereas the other day when I was going up, especially when I had another 15 pounds on me of water weight, every step, you know how you go to the gym and you work out and you do repetitions, but say you're doing your legs, lift 20 times, when you get to about 19 or 20 with a very heavy weight and your muscle, you feel that burn and like it's hardly going to move. Well, that's pretty much the way I felt every step the other day. So today, I'd say take it down a notch, like 50%. So I definitely know I'm stronger, and I don't have the 15 pounds of water, but I do have food, which I tried to keep at the very minimum to get me through just 3 days, 2 nights to get me back to top of Georgia. Plus that resupply I had there was supposed to be for me getting to top of Georgia instead of Unicoi and take me over to Franklin, so I had to be careful anyway. Although, I mean, they got supplies there that I could buy, but anyway, picked up a few things in Hiawassee, but for the most part, just going with what I got. So let's work up this hill, and I'm encouraged on the muscle front. Yay! Well, I'm a little over halfway up distance and elevation, and mostly we're doing rock steps. Every now and then a few feet of smooth, just dirt like this, but mostly it's rock steps. Some of them fairly big, but nothing undoable, and water draining everywhere. There are 2 water sources behind me and in front of me. This may actually be one of them, and Gut Hooks is just having a hard time placing me because there's a stream down there. Water's not a problem this year, folks. Water is not a problem. You don't have to carry much because there's somewhere to get it just very frequently. Well, it was so cold up there at the top I couldn't take out the camera. My camera mount on my pole broke, so I'm having to kind of use some other tactics. I did attach the camera holder on the pole, but as wet as it is out here, I decided to just keep it in my pocket, and I knew I wasn't going to be stopping and filming a lot out here anyway. But anyway, so initially we went up about 1,050 feet in 1.4 miles, 52.3 to 53.7, and now we're on the downhill, which started out a little steep and rocky, and then now it's just this nice little walk here, which is great. And I guess we're coming down into, is it Unicoi Gap maybe? I don't know. And then down into Trey something Gap after that, or we go up to Trey Gap, and then the climb. And I passed a trail maintainer who was who told me that the climb up to Rocky Mountain, climb up Rocky Mountain, which is the first one we did, which was about 29 to 39. 39.93 I think is where we ended, is the toughest of the two ups. And that even though the one up to the Trey Mountain and then the Trey Mountain shelter is longer and further, it's not as steep and has good switchbacks, and so I'm encouraged at I mean, it was hard and I was slow, but it was not as bad as I expected it to be on me, and so I'm really encouraged from that standpoint. I feel like already my muscles are starting to gain some strength, so got a long way to go still, but I think if I just keep doing this, short miles, take the Neros and the zeros when I need them, do the recuperation and the recovery while this rain's going on. When G gets back, if it's still raining, I probably will. I mean, again, for me, a slack pack is 25 pounds, so I still have more than the ultralighters when they're not slack packing, when they're carrying their full weight. But just because I always want to be prepared in case something happened out on the trail and I was stuck out there. So my quote slack pack weight is about 25 pounds. Anyway, if I was a traditional thru hiker totally, absolutely, and completely, and I could afford it, at this point, I would be slack packing from hostels and shuttle drivers every possibility that there is, just to get through this cold, wet weather, just because of how old it is. Just because of how hard it is on this older body, and not very hardy. But anyway, I mean, I'm dealing with it. I'll deal with it. I'll do what I got to do. I'm figured out how to stay warm at night, and I'm doing okay. Tonight's going to be pretty cold. Hopefully everything's staying dry in my pack. I got the dry clothes in there, and everything should be fine. And if I can get to the shelter in time to have a spot, or if I have to set up my tent, I can set up my tent. So whatever. But anyway, you see what we're seeing. And that's okay. I mean, in a way, I'm kind of glad this happened, because this is the kind of weather that I was the most concerned about. And so, to be able to find out right off the bat whether I can handle it, tolerate it, deal with it, that weather in the 40 to 50, rainy, nights in the 40s, low 40s, maybe down into the 30s, days in the 40s and the 50s, was what I was most concerned about, and the possibility of hypothermia, because you're gonna sweat. There's no way around it at those temperatures, and then you've got this 90, 100. Well, right now it's 100% humidity, so you're gonna be wet. And then, boy, it was windy and cold getting up close to the top of Rocky Mountain, and then I guess that's what it's called. If it's not, I'll straighten it out later. Big step here. 1 second. Anyway, just the dampness that I have on my upper body. I was starting to get really cold. I was about to think I was going to have to stop and put on my fleece jacket under my rain jacket, but made it through it, and then we ended up in more of a leeward section, I guess. So we're doing all right. I'm going to keep going and see what happens. Well, You put your hood on, you take your hood off. Rain comes down pretty hard, then it slows down. Ended up putting on the poncho. Took out the camera because we came through Unicoi Gap. There's camping there, camp spots that people have made. And then now we're headed up to Unicoi Gap, which is about 1.7 miles. And we're going through a forest of my favorite trees. Mountain laurel. It's a pretty large one right out there. So pretty when they bloom in the spring. State flower of Pennsylvania. Okay, everybody. Well, 1.7 to go on this last uphill, and bum kicker for me, but hanging in there. And let's just say I will be glad when these muscles get stronger. The only way to get them stronger is to go through this, which I've done before, pushed myself, but never in weather like this. So this is a first. Gonna be some people at the shelter, and sounds like there'll still be room for me, so that's good to know. And they look real nice, real friendly. So it should be a good night. Haven't quite kept up my 1 mile an hour pace on this, but as much uphill as there is. My pack's already gained about 7 pounds of water, I'm pretty sure, just from this 100% humidity. And even though it's covered, really twice, covered with a pack cover and the poncho, and so it just seeps in. And I got everything inside in plastic bags. I put garbage bags around everything on the outside. I mean, I've done everything that there is to do to keep the water out. But the cloth that you like my hat? I like my hat. Finally found my hat. Anyway, the material that the backpack is made out of and the belt is made out of, it's gonna just suck in that water when it's 100% humidity out here with a little bit of breeze and it's raining and sprinkling and you're in a cloud. See? So, I have no intention of quitting, but I will say that I may revise some how much of this I take before I take, well, don't really have to revise it, I've already done it. Take a few days, take a few days off, do a few days, take a few days off for health and safety reasons. I'm almost getting chilled today. But anyway, I'll play it by ear. And I just have to remember I'm 66 and I'm not very hardy. And so I have to adjust accordingly for safety. But anyway, for tonight I think I'm going to be fine. Tonight's probably going to be the coldest night of the next 3. And hopefully tomorrow it may not be raining. We may actually have a little bit of sun. We'll find out then. But I'll probably turn this back on when I get up to the shelter. So I got about 1.7 left to go, and mostly uphill with a little bit of flat. And it's that steady uphill that I was talking about not long ago. I don't remember which video. For me, at this point, is another definition of bum kicker. So, let's get up this mountain. We're looking southbound, and here's one of the views for today. There you go. Just want to make sure y'all get to see everything I get to see. Whew. I'm beginning to understand how those 2016 thru hikers that had 52 straight days of rain felt. The difference is theirs was in the summer, so it wasn't quite as dangerous, maybe. Most of them were in Virginia when it happened. I remember Ryan Johnson and Mitch Lennington. Mitch Lennington said he and Jacob Downing, after the thru hike, somebody asked him how he got through it. He said they had decided just to put their heads down and keep going forward. And they did that through all that rain. So I always thought that was pretty good advice, because I mean, you can't see anything anyway, other than a few things right next to the trail that, you know, might be interesting and pretty. But in this kind of weather, for me, looking at it, it's just really a matter of what are you doing to make sure that you're safe and that you don't get hypothermia. So there it is. Let's keep going. Alright, here's your view. That's northbound. 57.5, 4,400 feet. We're southbound. So from here it's downhill to the shelter. Thank goodness. Double bum kicker for me. Well, if you want to camp in a monsoon, there you go. Campsite, fire ring, right here in all this wind. Help yourself. As for me and my house, we're gonna go down this hill a little bit and try to get dry and warm before we get chilled. Coming up on the Blue Blaze to the shelter. Shelter and water. And the AT's off that way.